Various types of creatures have been suggested to explain both the sightings and what type of creature Bigfoot would be if it existed. The scientific community typically attributes sightings to either hoaxes or misidentification of known animals and their tracks, while cryptozoologists generally explain Bigfoot as an unknown ape. Some believers in Bigfoot attribute the phenomenon to UFOs and other paranormal causes. A minority of proponents of a natural explanation have attributed Bigfoot to animals that are not apes, such as the giant ground sloth. In 2007, the Pennsylvania Game Commission said that photos of the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization claimed showed a juvenile Bigfoot were most likely of a bear with mange. Jeffrey Meldrum, on the other hand, said the limb proportions of the suspected juvenile in question were not bear-like, and stated he felt they were more like a chimpanzee. Both scientists and Bigfoot believers agree that many of the sightings are hoaxes or misidentified animals. Bigfoot sightings or footprints are often demonstrably hoaxes. Author Jerome Clark argues that the Jacko affair, involving an 1884 newspaper report of an ape-like creature captured in British Columbia, was a hoax. Citing research by John Green, who found that several contemporary British Columbia newspapers regarded the alleged capture as very dubious, Clark notes that the Mainland Guardian wrote, "Absurdity is written on the face of it." On July 14, 2005, Tom Biscardi, a longtime Bigfoot enthusiast and CEO of Searching for Bigfoot Inc., appeared on the Coast to Coast AM paranormal radio show and announced that he was 98% sure that his group will be able to capture a Bigfoot, which they have been tracking in the Happy Camp, California area. A month later, Biscardi announced on the same radio show that he had access to a captured Bigfoot and was arranging a pay-per-view event for people to see it. Biscardi appeared on Coast to Coast AM again a few days later to announce that there was no captive Bigfoot. Biscardi blamed an unnamed woman for misleading him and shows the audience for being gullible. On July 9, 2008, Rick Dyer and Matthew Whitten posted a video to YouTube claiming that they had discovered a body of a dead Sasquatch in a forest in northern Georgia. Tom Biscardi was contacted to investigate. Dyer and Whitten received $50,000 from Searching for Bigfoot Inc. as a good faith gesture. The story of the men's claims was covered by many major news networks, including BBC, CNN, ABC News, and Fox News. Soon after a press conference, the alleged Bigfoot body arrived in a block of ice in a freezer with the Searching for Bigfoot team. When the contents were thawed, it was discovered that the hair was not real, the head was hollow, and the feet were rubber. Dyer and Whitten subsequently admitted it was a hoax after being confronted by Steve Coles, executive director of SasquatchDetective.com. In August 2012, a man in Montana was killed by a car while perpetrating a Bigfoot hoax using a ghillie suit. Bigfoot proponents Grover Krantz and Geoffrey Bourne believe that Bigfoot could be a relict population of Gigantopithecus. Bourne contends that as most Gigantopithecus fossils are found in China, and as many species of animals migrated across the Bering's land bridge, it is not unreasonable to assume that Gigantopithecus might have as well. The Gigantopithecus hypothesis is generally considered entirely speculative. Gigantopithecus fossils are not found in the Americas, as the only recovered fossils are mandibles and teeth. There is some uncertainty about Gigantopithecus's locomotion. Krantz has argued, based on his extrapolation of the shape of its mandible, that Gigantopithecus blacki could not have been bipedal. However, the relevant part of mandible is not present in any fossils. The mainstream view is that Gigantopithecus was a quadrupedal, and it has been argued that Gigantopithecus's enormous mass would have made it difficult for it to adopt a bipedal gait. Matt Cartmill presents another problem with the Gigantopithecus hypothesis. The trouble with this account is that Gigantopithecus was not a hominin, and maybe not even a Crown group hominid, yet the physical evidence implies that Bigfoot is an upright biped with a long, stout, permanently abducted hallux. These are hominin automorphies not found in other mammals or other bipeds. It seems unlikely that Gigantopithecus would have evolved these uniquely hominin traits in parallel. Bernard G. Camplin wrote that Gigantopithecus is in fact has been questioned by those who believe it survives as the Yeti of the Himalayas and the Sasquatch of northwest American coast, but the evidence for these creatures is not convincing. A species of Paranthropus such as Paranthropus robustus, with its crested skull and bipedal gait, was suggested by primatologist John Napier and an anthropologist Gordon Strassenberg as a possible candidate for Bigfoot's identity, despite the fact that fossils of Paranthropus are only found in Africa. Michael Rugg of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum presented a comparison between human Gigantopithecus and Meganthropus skulls, reconstructions made by Krantz. In episodes 131 and 132 of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum show, he favorably compares a modern tooth suspected of coming from a Bigfoot to Meganthropus fossil teeth, noting the worn enamel on the occlusal surface. The Meganthropus fossils originated from Asia. The tooth was found in the Pacific Northwest. Some suggest Neanderthal or Homo heidelbergensis to be the creature, but no remains of any of those species have been found in the Americas. One fringe theory, supported by paranormal investigator John Eric Beckjord, theorizes that the lack of hard evidence supporting Bigfoot's existence may be due to the creature being an interdimensional being that slips in and out of dimensions. Many Bigfoot advocates distance themselves from the paranormal position and regard it as an embarrassment. One of the most famous sightings of Bigfoot history is the Patterson film. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Robert Gremlin reported that on October 20th, they had captured a purported Sasquatch on film at Bluff Creek, California. This came to be known as the Patterson-Gremlin film. Many years later, Bob Hieronymus, an acquaintance of the Pattersons, say that he wore an ape costume for the making of the film. However, Patterson and Gremlin claimed that they sought various experts to examine the film. Patterson claimed they have screened the film for unnamed technicians in the special effects department at Universal Studios in Hollywood. Their conclusion was, "We could try faking it, but we could have to create a completely new system of artificial muscles and find an actor who could be trained to walk like that. It might be done, but we would have to say that it would be almost impossible. So, what do you believe? Is Bigfoot real? Fake? Only time will tell. Join us next time on Cryptids. If you have a request for a monster for us to talk about, please send us a message or comment. Please rate and subscribe.